All right, this update's brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment. Padres Rockies, final game of a 3-game series. Padres trying to avoid the sweep. Well, they trailed the Rockies 7-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning there. NBA playoff action tonight. Couple game 5, Celtics Cavaliers, 4 p.m. tip-off time there. And then Thunder Mavericks, that series tied at 2 games apiece. 6:30 tip-off time in Oklahoma City. Summit Racing has the parts and accessories to keep your ride, summer road trip ready. Choose from millions of parts in stock. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off. An order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 6/2/24.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 1 of Jon and Jim. It would be an easy day to make it the pile-on day, and I don't think that's our intent or goal with this show, but we have to have a real conversation, I think, with Padres fans, because I think that's what Padres fans deserve, truthfully. The Padres now are in a spot, Jim, where barring what would be one of the great comebacks in the history of the franchise, they trail 7-0, like you just said in the update, heading out of the 8th inning. So barring something spectacular, which is possible but very unlikely, you're looking at something that's just flat out disappointing. Like, of course, it's beyond that as well. It's frustrating. It's any word you could find related to that. But to win a series against LA and then to look at the opposite side of the coin this quickly and to get swept at home by truly a lowly team like the Colorado Rockies. Again, it's not my goal right now to just go crazy and pile on. I mean, the season isn't over. They'll fall 2 games under 500. But this really is a disappointment for them to play like this, not just one day, not just 2 days, but 3 consecutive days like this against the Colorado Rockies. I didn't see it coming, and it's frustrating, it's disappointing, and it's disheartening.
Whoa.
Agreed or disagreed? I was all in. Man, I'm not. I'm listening.
You're burying the lead here, John.
What is it?
Why'd you block me on Twitter?
Okay, you want to have talk?
Let's have this conversation right now. Let's have it right now. In the midst of this Padres collapse.
That's fine. Right, that's fine.
We need to have this conversation.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. Shildt will sugarcoat things, but we're not going to sugarcoat things here on Jon and Jim.
Okay, so over the last, about 2 weeks ago, you were copying my tweets, I think, for a day.
Correct.
It was a bit.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't think much of it.
Okay.
Then maybe 48 hours ago, you just started doing it again.
Correct.
And it never stopped. And then, and I think I said yesterday or 2 days ago, like,
correct,
I'm going to block you.
Okay.
And they're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, you're probably right. So I didn't block you because you're Jim and we're co-hosts and we're buddies and I'm officiating your wedding. And it goes beyond that. But then
it's going to be awkward if you officiate my wedding and I'm still blocked. Yeah.
And then today I tweeted, what I tweet? It's not ideal.
Not ideal, period.
When they went down 3-0 in like the 3rd inning. I don't even know.
Right.
And then you tweeted out a second later, not ideal. And then I walked by you in the hallway. I'm like, I'm blocking you. You're like, no, you're not. I'm like, I am. And I blocked you. And then I tweeted, which I don't think you can even see, that I blocked Jim Russell.
You said it finally happened. I blocked Jim Russell.
Yeah, I said it was long overdue.
Yeah.
So that's really the only story behind it. I just felt like you were annoying. Now, could I have muted you? I've done that before, and it served I guess that serves its purpose. So here's the thing. I will move you from blocked to muted under the following conditions.
Well, no, whoa. What?
If you, there'll be like 10 things. I said, like, it's kind of like if you're on parole, you got to follow the rules, right? To get off parole.
Well, here's the thing. I also blocked you.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that because I blocked you. That was my purpose. That's the thing. I'm not worried about that.
Why can't we all just be nice to each other?
Okay, so fine. I'm
we're
down.
We're dealing with this Padres team that's collapsing before our eyes after taking a series from the Dodgers at home.
Right.
And you decided to start a civil war with me by blocking me.
Okay. Well, then what is it? Do you want me to just unblock you?
Yes.
Right now.
Do it.
Do it. Brent, what do you think? You're the independent.
We can't be taken.
He has to earn it.
Hold on.
That's what I'm thinking.
No. We can't be taken seriously as a show
if we don't even follow each other. No, we follow each other. You just block.
That's even worse.
I know.
You block somebody, that's like.
Well, I didn't report you.
Those are fighting words.
Yeah.
Those are
know.
when you resort to blocking somebody, you are excommunicating them out of your lives.
But I'm not with you because we could still text. We could still officiate weddings.
Again.
What do you guys think?
How can we be taken seriously as a show?
What hurt more, when John blocked you or when that other baseball guy blocked you?
What other baseball guy? He's been blocked by a lot of people.
Was it John Clayton blocked you? Who blocked you?
Oh,
Buster Only?
No.
Oh, I know you're talking about, Brian.
Why am I blanking on his name right now?
There's a big name.
It's not Joel
Not
Sherman.
Nightingale, is it?
Not Sherman.
Nightingale?
No, not Nightingale. John
Heyman.
Heyman. Yeah.
Let me just throw this out. I'll make a determination at the first break. 70470, start it with team. Should I unblock Jim? I'll go with whatever the audience thinks. 70470, start it with team. So let's just table that for now. What do they say in the chat on YouTube?
Rich McGuire, who is a loyal listener to our show, watching us on YouTube right now, saying, who takes his show seriously anyway?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Good point.
Yeah.
Galvin says, I blame Jim for everything anyway. Okay. Another good point there.
Okay.
Yes, mostly the chat is just
disappointed in this game.
Just very, very upset with the San Diego Padres as of this moment. They probably don't care about you blocking me on social media.
We'll discuss again in 15 minutes. But I thought Darren made a really good point during the fusion, which is, we can talk Manny and Toddy and Poggi, and we will. And we could talk about the fact that they're getting shut out, and they really haven't scored this homestand, Jim. They won 2 games against the Dodgers.
They haven't
scoring
scored
6 runs.
Yeah.
But the other good point that Darren made is that they're trailing in all these games by 5 runs. I mean, 5-0 or 5-1, then 6-0 yesterday, now today, 7-0. You can have a decent offense and lose a lot of games allowing 6 or 7 runs. Now, right now, it's both. They're not scoring and the pitching hasn't been good, but we can't just let the pitching off the hook because it's so easy to say Manny, Bogey, Toddy. Truth be told, the pitching's been awful in this series, hasn't it?
It's been bad.
Yeah.
But, this series
against the Rockies, not this homestand, this series.
They were really good against the Dodgers.
Great. But the last 3 games.
Michael King, Waldron, and Darvish Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Amazing.
I'm with you.
Cease wasn't bad last night.
No, he wasn't. You're right.
Had a little bit of bad luck in there.
You're right.
The Rockies fouled off literally every pitch that they saw in the 5th inning.
Yep.
I'm not even putting a tiny bit of blame on Dylan Cease for last night. Not even a little bit of blame. Michael King, again, proven that he is wildly inconsistent.
1 good start, 1 bad start.
He actually had 2 good starts.
Was it 2 in a row?
And then now a really bad start. Just can't be consistent. That's, a problem. Giving up more home runs today. Still leads the league in home runs given up.
Leads the majors,
yeah. Really, what do you expect from Randy Vasquez? Whatever you get from him is a positive if it's good. And Monday night was not good. But the offense has, in this series, and really this homestand, it's not been great. Six runs against the Dodgers total, and they won 2 games. They should feel lucky that they won 2 games there.
The offense has been terrible this series.
And the offense has been terrible this homestand.
This homestand. And that's why I think we've been concentrating on the offense the last 2 days. But now, the shoe fits on the other foot as well. And they're trailing the Rockies, say 8-0. Yesterday, they allowed 6 runs, and the day before, they allowed 5 runs. That's not great.
This isn't just a hard-fought loss. This is embarrassing right now.
Right.
This is on the level of, you guys just got embarrassed. And I cannot wait
to hear
Shildt post game, because if there was any time to kind of breathe some, realistic, evaluations going on right now, it's this post game. This is the post game that I want to hear Shildt be honest and real with everybody. Because if you're not, and you spew some BS silver lining crap like you did last night when Marty asked a fantastic question about, we've won 4 series in a row, most since 2021. Well, guess what? It was actually disproved today very quickly by Darren and Marty that the last time this team won 4 series in a row or more than that was last September. So you're now trying to spew facts that aren't even facts, and you're making yourself look like an idiot. So I better hear post-game a little bit of fire from Shildt and a little bit of criticism on his team saying that this is unacceptable. We need to play good baseball. And coming off of a good series versus the Dodgers, we were flat. We didn't play good. There was nothing redeemable about this series. And if we expect to be a postseason team, this is not the type of baseball we should be playing.
Yeah, but a leopard doesn't change its spots.
I
Like
know,
if you're going to eat
I know,
Fritos
I
before a
know.
wedding, you're going to eat Fritos before a wedding. You don't all of a sudden stop eating Fritos before a
I'm
wedding.
not going to eat Fritos before a wedding.
But I mean, in the lead up
My
to
wedding.
a wedding, yeah, you're.
I'll have some Fritos, but
that's
like
what I'm
not
saying,
day
because
of.
it's who you are, and I respect it. But you're not all of a sudden like. To your credit, it's not like 10 days before your wedding, like, I'm going to change everything about my life. I'm only drinking water.
Getting a new haircut,
you're
shaving my
Jim.
beard.
So I don't expect Shildt to all of a sudden off one loss, now also getting swept at home by the Rockies, and Darren just told you that that's as bad as it gets.
It's a series.
I don't expect him to say after this one, we need to look ourselves in the mirror and that the buck stops here. And that this is completely unacceptable. Now, will he take some level of accountability? Will he say some things that he hasn't said previously? That's a possibility, but I wouldn't really be counting on that after this game here today. So let's hear from Shildt. I mean, this is complete PR spin, obviously. The interesting thing is even if they had won 4 series and it's the first time they've done it since 2021, don't pretend like that's better than making like a National League Championship series. You can't compare the two.
Give me a break.
There's no comparison to winning in the postseason.
4 series in a row, guys.
And winning random series in May. So this was Mike Shildt with our very own Marty Caswell post-game last night following Game 2.
They're not fun.
Mike, you're always praising the team for its fight in these games, even in a deficit. But has this team come close to playing up to your expectations or to their expectations? And what do you make of the team's struggles at home during night games?
Well, the team we just got through winning our 4th series before this series in a row, all against quality teams, and 2 of those series, the previous 2 series at home. So I do appreciate that the questions asked because we've lost 2 in a row at home. But as far as the consistency is the first, feeling like the team's playing up to its capability. I mean, this team just got through winning 4 series in a row for the first time since 2021.
Wrong.
And so I don't know, heck, I understand the question, but it's just really about a matter of consistency. Like I said, we get a ball to go a couple ways yesterday or today, to find some holes, or goes at somebody softly. We're in a great position to win a series tomorrow, but we're not. We've lost the last 2, and we recognize that and got to own that. But, as far as the consistency of play relative to our base running, defense, pitching, I think it's been pretty darn good in a lot of stretches, and it needs to continue to be consistent for us to put together, to Ace's point, that the ability to, irrespective of opponents, to be the playoff team we expect to be.
By the way, translation, when Mike Shildt says he appreciates the question, it means he absolutely despises the question. For whatever reason, he took offense to something that was completely normal. Why wouldn't that question be asked from Marty? And winning 4 consecutive series doesn't change the facts, which is after last night, you're under 500. I mean, they were 22 and 23. What does winning 4 straight series have to do with that? I mean, you're under 500. That's who you are. Like, what did you say yesterday, Bill Parcells?
You are what your record says you are.
And that's completely fair. Everyone understands that we all play by the same rules. The Padres aren't going to petition baseball to get into the postseason if the record isn't good enough.
That question by Marty was a great question. And that answer by Shildt was embarrassing and pathetic.
It's a little stronger than I'd probably go. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
Pathetic. Whoever gave him... And at the time, I wasn't even really thinking about it because we had the wrap-up show last night. And I said on the wrap-up show, that was an embarrassing answer from Shildt to a great question by Marty. Because the question really wasn't about, like, how you've been playing recently. It was where you're at this point in the season. You're now a game under 500.
Compared to expectations.
Do you feel like you've lived up to the expectations? And do you feel like that you're meeting those expectations? And if not, then what are your expectations? or along those lines. And he reverts to say, well, we've been playing good baseball recently, and we won 4 series in a row since 2021. And you're wrong. Whoever gave you that information was bad information. And it just makes you kind of look like a silver lining, just kind of buffoon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't need the spin. Like, Padres fans see through it. Like, we've been preaching for years now how good of a baseball market this is, and you're trying to spin it to your fans, how good you're playing. You're 22 and 23, and you're about to be 22 and 24. Let's go to the phones. 877-767-4760. Padres on the verge of getting swept at home by the lowly Rockies. Let's start with Michael. Michael, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in. Hey, Michael.
Jon and Jim, thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Appreciate it. I like Manny, of course, but maybe he needs some different scenery. What if, I know he's got a bad contract, but what if we traded him to Anaheim for Mike Trout?
No,
What if we traded him to St. Louis?
No, it's not
for Nolan Arenado?
No, Michael, I appreciate. We appreciate.
He's got the no trade. I mean, he's got the no trade clause.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere. I mean, we can discuss it in 8 years. I mean, like year 10 of the deal, you could. But he's in year 2 of this extension. Like, you either sink or swim with Manny Machado. There is no escape hatch here. Like, you've made your bed. It's with Manny Machado long term. You've made your bed. It's with Xander Bogaerts long term. They have made that decision. And if you're AJ Preller, we talked a little bit about this last night. You're crossing your fingers is what you're doing, because these guys have to produce. They just absolutely have to produce. You sign them, there's nowhere for them to go. They have to produce. And they haven't. So what are you supposed to do? Keep crossing your fingers until they do.
Manny 0 for 3 today with 3 strikeouts so far.
He's 2 for his last 32.
Mm-hmm. If he does not get going in a big way, this thing is dead on the vine. They will be a hovering 500 team for the rest of the year. It's not going to happen when your best player is Jurickson Profar. It's not. And when your second best player is Jake Cronenworth offensively. Like, those 2 things right there, Jake Cronenworth and Jurickson Profar being your best offensive players, you're not going to win. You're not going to be a postseason team. You're not going to be a team that contends or competes in the postseason. You're going to be a middling 500 team, because you do have some nice pieces on the roster, and you'll get a couple games here and there from the big guys. But if the big guys aren't consistent, then you are going absolutely nowhere. And we give a lot of crap to Manny, and not a lot of crap, but we criticize Manny, and it's criticism that is earned because he is not performing. It's criticism that's earned because Xander Bogaerts is not performing. It's criticism that's earned by Tatis because he's not performing. Pretty simple. And we're saying it's like, just replay yesterday's show, just replay Monday's show, and coming off of the weekend series, you were all in, Jon. You're all in, bro.
I was. I'll take some of the accountability on that.
Is this your fault?
Maybe. I mean, and honestly, I'm not all out. That's the truth. I'm not at all. I mean,
I'm not
22
either.
and 24 means literally nothing. Every other team vying for a playoff record or playoff spot in the National League has the exact same record. Nobody's run away from you. No one, not one team vying for that last wildcard spot or the second to last wildcard spot has run away from you. That hasn't happened. But that doesn't disprove the overall point, which is play like this and you'll play your way out. Like, play with fire, you get burned. And they're going to be 22 and 24 despite everything. We got to get off to a better start. We have a new manager. We have a better approach at the plate. We give nothing away. The other teams don't care. They have been good against the LA Dodgers, and that's great. They have been good. They're 5-3 against the Dodgers. You know what that means, Jim? They're 4 games under 500 against everyone else. Other than the Dodgers, they've been a bad baseball team. They're going to be 4 games under 500 against everyone other than the Dodgers. So there's really no way to spin this. It's a long year. They haven't been good. They haven't won anything. They haven't lost anything. And that's where we are, heading to Atlanta Friday night to begin that 4-game series.
Last season, there was a lot of we just were so baffled. What's wrong? We couldn't come up with an answer. We spent all of last year trying to find answers to why they were not doing well.
That's right.
Would you agree it's pretty easy to find the answer to why they're not
these
doing well this
guys
year?
aren't hitting. Is where you're starting.
Yeah.
These stars aren't producing.
I mean, last year there was so much happening
Mm-hmm.
that it wasn't just about the on-field stuff. I feel like the clubhouse and the quote-unquote vibes and the dynamic of the team relatively have been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, not an issue like it was last year. A lot of chirping behind people's backs last year. A lot of stuff happening in that clubhouse. The dynamic between Preller and Melvin was another issue. The dynamic between the stars was a little bit of an issue. Like, those things were just like every talking points galore. Like, there was this over here, this over here, this over here. This season, I think it's just purely like there's 3 dudes on this team that you look at and say, yeah, pretty easy to see why they're not doing that well, in my opinion.
No, you're right. I mean, is it oversimplifying it? It's a
just
good
by their
way to look.
on-field play.
No, it's a good way to look at it. Again, I mean, you use a game like today or yesterday, and they've allowed, how many runs did they allow yesterday? 6, and today 8. You're not going to win a lot of games. The Padres don't win games 7-6, 9-8. How many times have we said that? And it's true. And if you're allowing 6, 7, 8 runs in a game, you're going to be winning 10, 15, 20% of the time. So yes, where it is true, Manny tonight could be 3 for 3 with 3 home runs. They're still losing this game.
So if I were to ask you the question,
Mm-hmm.
who do you put this more on as the reason why they're where they're at? Is it the 3 stars or is it their inconsistent starting pitching?
I mean, I'd probably lean 3 stars, the 3-star hitters, but I'd also say, Musgrove has made 7 or 8 starts, and like 6 of them haven't been good.
Yeah.
Dylan Cease has been great. Kings, half of them have been good, half of them have been awful. Darvish has been good. That 5th spot's been a disaster for them. I think both are fair. I mean, again, Heavy's the head that wears the crown, and that's the 3 stars, the $1 billion boys. You add up those contracts, it's $1 billion. So that's going to be more prominent than Michael King being ineffective. Who even knows who Michael King is? Not going to the game to watch Michael King, with all due respect. You're there to see Manny Machado not go for 3. Let's continue the conversation on the other side. Plus your calls. 877-767-4760. When this thing goes final, you'll hear from Shildt. We've got the new Aztec assistant coach that was officially hired today as well that will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. Ryan Battertelli, who was at UC Irvine for 19 years. I think he's going to join us. He's going to try to join us today at 5 p.m. If he can, he'll definitely join us tomorrow, but we hope to have Ryan Battertelli today at 5 p.m. But much more on the floundering Padres next on Jon and Jim. All right, we're going to hear from Shildt. This game is about to go final. Barring a 8-run comeback from the Padres, they're about to get swept by the Rockies. We'll hear from Shildt. We'll take your calls at 877-767-4760. That's next.
All right, this update is brought to you by the Superstar Car Wash, John. Padres getting their ass kicked today, 8-0. They're about to get swept by the Rockies and drop 2 games under 500. We'll hear from Shildt post-game coming up next on Jon and Jim. And tonight, NBA playoff action. A couple critical game 5s here. First up, Cavaliers trying to fend off being eliminated. Game 5 in Boston as the Celtics lead that series 3-1. And Thunder and Mavericks, crucial game 5 tonight with that series tied up 2 games apiece in Oklahoma City, 6:30 tip-off time there. Spring into savings at Superstar Car Wash with unlimited car washes starting as low as $10 for your first month. Enjoy free vacuums, microfiber towels, and much more. Visit any of our locations or online at superstarcarwash.com.
Free to win bonus bucks up $1,000 every day this week. Listen for the keyword and enter it at sportssd.com. Now, this game is not over. Oh, the game's over. It's 8-0 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Padres getting swept at home by the Rockies as they will have Thursday off. They'll be in Atlanta to open a 4-game series on Friday. Manny Machado today just grounds out. He's 0 for 4. He's now 2 for his last 33. But let me just read this to you real quick. Like you said, we'll hear from Shildt coming up probably in the next 20 minutes. And we'll get to Dave, who's been very patient. Let me just read this to you. Tell me what this is. 0, 3, 4, 4, 0, 2, 3, 2.
Runs scored in the last 10 games.
In the last 8. So that goes back to Jim's initial point, which is like, come on. Like, and you can't ask Jerks and Profar to be the guy to make sure you're scoring 5 runs every night, but you can ask the combination of Bogarts and Machado and Toddy to be the group that leads you to 4, 5, 6 runs in a game. And right now, they're not doing that. And they did, Jim. There was that 30, 35 games where they did hit and they did score, but you're asking way too much over 162, way too much without these guys. It's amazing they scored 5 runs per game for 35 games or whatever they did without these guys hitting.
I know.
It's amazing.
And it's like and it still is better than last year.
It has been,
but it's starting to regress to the means where they were at a high with hitting when runners score. I think they're like middle of the pack now with runners in scoring position, maybe like around
terrible recently.
I think they're around 250-ish
I agree,
as a team. And that's not horrible because last year they were hitting like 200 for a lot of the season. 250 it's like a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
But it's starting to regress back down to a level that, or an average that you don't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it's has to do a lot with the Mannies and the Bogies and the Toddies of the world. And we know that Jurickson Profar love what he's doing. Probably hard to envision him doing this for the entirety of the season. Because if he did, he would like be a top 10 MVP candidate at All-Star, and he would have like 30 plus home runs and 100 RBIs this year when he's never done that in his entire career. And now he's going to do it at age 30, whatever, on a 1 year, $1 million contract. Hard to envision that happening. Same thing with Jake Cronenworth. Jake Cronenworth has had a nice year, but his average, like his good season, is around 20 home runs, 70 to 80 RBIs, 260, 270 with like a high 700 OPS. Like that would be, to me, if you said that Jake Cronenworth ended the year with those numbers, I would take it right now.
Sure.
Because that is a very good season from Jake Cronenworth. But, you know, that's not good enough still, because you need at least somebody to have that all-star level type of season if you're not going to get lights out pitching every single night. If you were getting lights out pitching every night, the bullpen was like the old school Kansas City Royals bullpen, 7-8-9 was like unhittable with those guys. Then you can have a subpar offense. But they don't have that luxury. And they don't even have close to that luxury.
No luxuries right now. Let's go back to the phones. A number of people want to weigh in. 877-767-4760. Dave has been the most patient. Dave, we appreciate your patience, and thanks for calling in. You're back on with Jon and Jim.
Well, thanks again, man. I'm sorry that the circumstances are what they are. We've all waited a long time to have that parade, and it looks like we're going to be waiting for a hell of a lot longer. So first of all, let me just say, as far as Manny goes, look, until the locker room gets back under control by the adults, this is what we're going to see out of this team. And like it or not,
but Dave, let me stop. Oh, sorry. Let me stop you there. Who are these adults you're talking about? Manny's the adult. He is one of the veterans of this team. Who's the adult in the room that you're referring to?
The adult in the room has to be your manager, who sits down and says, "Look, pal, your ass is riding the bench."
That's not going to happen. Right. That's not going to happen, Dave, and you know it.
That's the problem right there, John. That's the problem.
That's Jim. That's Jim yelling at you.
Well, either way, you guys, that's the problem right there. And the other problem is long term. Darren brought it up. What is going to become of this franchise when you've got over $1 billion wrapped up in all of these salaries? This ownership is changed, and how much more are they going to absorb when you look at the long term implications of this explosion that's happening before our eyes? That's what I'm worried about as a 1969 to now Padre fan. You know, I got the present to deal with, but I'm also worried about the future, because
no doubt
can't go on. It can't go on.
No, it's fair, Dave. Thank you. And these deals will be over in the next 10 years. But no, it's a fair point. How sustainable is it with these huge contracts when they're failing to produce? The Padres have lost, by the way, today, 8-0. Shutout at home, swept at home by the lowly Rockies, completing a 2-4 homestand. What you would consider to be difficult road trip away. It's a 4-game series in Atlanta, then 3 games against the Reds team that's been awful, but 4 games in Atlanta. Atlanta's playing like 670 baseball right now. So the Rockies have won 7 straight. The Padres have lost 3 straight. Let's go back to the phones. Jeremy, you're on with Jon and Jim, 877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in. Jeremy, thanks for calling in.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, I actually got a question for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we signed Tatis to that huge deal, okay?
Yeah.
He had a great year, then got popped for PEDs. Hasn't really done jack since. We signed Machado. Let's be honest, he's been up and down, but hasn't been consistent for us. He really hasn't. We signed Bogarts. Do you think that we jumped the gun on signing these guys to these huge contracts because we're signing names as opposed to the player itself? And I'll take your guys' answer off the air.
Let me say this about that. I think it's a really good question from Jeremy. Let me quickly say this. You typically overpay for offense at Petco, just like you overpay for pitching in Denver, for example. It's not as extreme. Petco isn't hitting what Denver is, the opposite way, right? In Denver, everything flies out. Petco's a bad hitter's yard. But my point is, Jim, you got to really pay to get someone to spend their career here. Xander Bogaerts was getting an offer of like 125 from the Red Sox, came here for 280. Manny wasn't getting 350. He wasn't getting 300 when he signed this deal. What was the next best offer from the White Sox?
Like 280.
Was it that high?
I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out.
Okay, so whatever. Maybe in the twos. My point is, you're going to overpay because it's hard to produce here. That doesn't explain Toddy, Manny, and Bogey's struggles. Toddy hit 40 home runs a couple years ago. I'm just saying that, like, I'm not overly shocked that guys don't live up to the full billing in San Diego, specifically on offense. And I'm also not overly shocked that you have to overpay a little bit to get offense. But man, it looks really bad when they don't hit. Like these deals are so long and so big that there's only one way it can work. These guys produce the entirety of the contract. And the problem is, Jim, not only are they not producing for the entirety of the contract, they're not producing at all. Year in and year out. Bogaerts, 2 straight years hasn't produced. Manny, more often than not, hasn't produced. We talked about it yesterday. Toddy, multiple years now, hasn't produced. Like, it's a problem and a big one.
Yeah. Look, it's if they were produced, I mean, it's the other side of the coin. Like, hey, if Tatis was still looking like an MVP, you'd say to yourself, well, that contract actually kind of looks like a pretty kind of a steal.
Right.
Same thing with Manny. You go, well, Manny took this team helped lead this team to an NLCS. Of course you're going to give him a bunch of money. You want him to walk? Because then guess what? The fan base will be like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm.
The Bogaerts thing will always be the most random signing, I think, unless he starts producing. And you said, no, thank you to Juan Soto. So, I mean,
that's a whole nother, and that's now to the AJ conversation. Like, again, Manny didn't sign the deal. Bogaerts didn't sign the deal.
Yeah. And when
Manny
you're
didn't trade Juan Soto.
Of
course you're going to take it.
If someone offered me $100 million to work at McDonald's, I'm going to work there.
They're parts of unions. How would you ever turn that down? It has nothing to do with the players. Let's go back to the phone. Scott wants to weigh in, I think, more on AJ Preller. 877-767-4760. Scott, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, guys. So I would say it all starts with the real manager, AJ Preller, because let's be honest, he is the real manager of the team. And, you're not going to bench your highest paid guy, Manny Machado, but the fact that you're still batting him fourth every single night, put him down to 6th or 7th. If baseball players, professionals aren't anything, they have egos. And the fact that, you're still putting someone like him in 4th, you put someone like Manny Machado down maybe 6th, 7th, even 8th, heck, that might be the thing to fire up his ego. One other thing I'll just say about Machado is none of these guys, fail on purpose. They all hold themselves to a high standard, but it seems like ever since he got paid and got his soccer team going, that he's just hasn't been the same focused Manny Machado. And it seems like he's trying to sail in towards what he's doing after baseball. Now, that might not be reality, but, they say perception is reality.
Scott, real quick before you go, he left. Was he saying Manny should be dropped in the order?
Yeah.
You have a better chance of a lunar landing with the Jon and Jim show for a Friday upcoming broadcast than Manny Machado batting 8th for the San Diego Padres between now and 2033.
Never will happen. Never.
And if he does bat 8th,
you lose him.
You're going to get a guy that will be, I mean,
the worst.
You don't even want to envision what that would look like. Now, can you be worse than 2 for 33? That's fair, but
just imagine Manny walking into that clubhouse, looking at the lineup. Probably never really looks at the lineup because he knows he's always going to be hitting 4th, right? But say he just happens to glance over the lineup just randomly, right?
He says 8th,
and he goes 8th.
Yeah, like you hit him 3rd, okay? Like, yeah, that's fine.
The only place Manny is moving in this lineup is up in the lineup.
Move him up.
You're not going to have your quote unquote A-team lineup in there and have Manny hitting 8th
and Tyler Wade batting 7th. I mean, give me a break.
Profar hitting 3rd or 4th. Stop.
That's why we've been saying this is who they are. This is what they've got. It either works or massive change is coming, but not with Manny Machado.
No, the only constant that will be here through whatever change that happens with this franchise if they don't make the postseason will be Manny Machado, as I said yesterday. That's not changing. Do we have a Shildt?
We're going to hear from Shildt.
We have a Shildt
We're going to
presser.
hear from Shildt soon. The Padres have lost. Mike Shildt is about to speak to the media. You will hear it here on Jon and Jim. The Padres were just swept at home by the Rockies. How is that even possible?
Well, it's possible, Jon.
It just happened. We'll continue on Jon and Jim. Very interesting comments from the manager of the Padres, Mike Shildt, after the Padres were embarrassed at home, swept by the Rockies. That's next. All right, Mike Shildt is currently speaking with the media. We're going to play it in its entirety coming up at 4 p.m. and then react. And we want to hear from Padres fans. Padres swept by the Rockies at home. All week we said, don't give it back what you did against the Dodgers. They had chances here. You can lose game one of the series, but then win the next two. You could even lose the first two games of the series and salvage something today. You're going to the road. Win today. Get the bad taste out of your mouth. To not show up on either side, Michael King, ineffective, couldn't throw anything for strikes for 4 innings. And then the offense, how many hits did they have, Jim? 4?
This game?
Yeah. Did they have more than that?
5.
They didn't score. Okay, they have 5 hits. Great.
5.
They didn't score a run. And now what's Mike Shildt gonna have to say about this?
Well, we've already seen one quote tweeted out by Marty just moments ago. And she tweeted, Mike Shildt, quote, "I'm going to take exception with being outplayed. We lost 3 games." And then my response to that was, what's more embarrassing, John? The Padres play this series or that pathetic answer by Mike Shildt?
Yeah, you can only spin so much. I mean, and you're going to spin. All managers have a level of spin, but it's how you can't go to the nth degree with the spin. It's okay to start your press conference by saying, you know what, this is a disappointing series. It doesn't change our goals. This is a disappointing series. I talked to the team. They agree with that.
We have
expect
aspirations
more.
to be a playoff team.
We're not going to pretend like the whole season was determined this week, and it wasn't. He's spot on if you say something like that.
He's still talking, by the way.
He's just talking.
Why is he still talking? He
So-
is like trying to preach how great this team is right now.
We're going
They're
to bring
not.
it all to you at 4 p.m. and then fully react to Mike Shildt. I mean, they've had some bad series in recent history. They lost a home series to the Royals this time last year. They weren't good against the Pirates last year. They weren't good against the Nationals last year. Swept at home by the Rockies, who haven't had a sweep on the road in division since 2019. I think Darren said. Is that right?
Like, since 2019?
In division, or was that in general? Oh, in front of fans.
In front of fans.
They have not been
Here, hold
swept
on.
on the road in front of fans since 2019 in a 3-game
Yeah,
series.
Darren said it's Colorado has not swept the road series since taking a 2-game set in Texas from April 11th, 12th in 2022. They have not swept a 3-game road series since August 24th through the 26th in 2020 in Arizona.
So in front of fans since 2019.
And haven't swept a 3-games road series in front of fans since 2019.
That's crazy, guys. They play 81 road games. You know how many series that is per year on the road? An average of about 30. They play 30 road series. They're not getting swept by anyone ever. Oakland's and bad Baltimore's and bad Pittsburgh's. And they just come into Petco, play in front of 120,000 people and sweep the Padres? That's crazy. That's crazy.
These quotes that are coming out from Marty are setting up to be an iconic post-game presser from Shildt. And I might lose my mind.
I think you already have.
I think I'm going to lose my mind once I actually
wait.
hear it. Once I actually hear this BS that's being spewed from
Is he
Shilt's
still
mouth.
talking?
He's still freaking talking.
Is this a Super Bowl? Kyle Shanahan didn't talk this long.
No.
He took the ball.
Stop. I hate you. Maybe you should keep me blocked.
Oh my gosh. I might not block you after this.
I will. I think I'm going to lose it. I think I'm going to lose
Wait,
it.
hold on. Donovan Solano had 2 hits. Let me start there. Hey, I'm manager of the Padres. I want to start with Donovan Solano.
Hey, Shildt, how did Michael King pitch today?
Well, let me start. I don't want to talk about King. Donovan Solano has been a nice acquisition.
Donnie looked good today.
They look really good. 2 hits.
Hey, Shildt, how about that catch that Jackson Merrill had in the 8th inning?
That was
great,
a
right?
that was a nice play.
Yeah.
I didn't see him quit on anything today, Jim.
Dude, look,
it was the 9th inning.
Once I'm seeing these quotes trickle out
This is
from
gonna be
Marty.
Incredible.
Stay tuned, guys. Just stay tuned because I might lose my freaking mind here. It's going to be potentially an all-timer because he is still talking to the media and he is like preaching to a choir that just doesn't want to hear it right now.
This is going to be incredible. All right, we're going to hear, who knows how long he speaks to the media. You're going to hear 5, 6, 7 minutes of uninterrupted audio from Mike Shildt. Then we'll fully react. And we want to hear from you. 70470 started with team. You can text us or you can call us 877-767-4760. The Padres embarrassed this week by the Rockies. They're swept at home. You'll hear from Mike Shildt next to kick off hour 2.
Why is he still talking?
He's still talking. That's next.
This update's brought to you by Toyota Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. Sometimes you have to laugh from keeping yourself from crying. Padres get their ass kicked today. They got swept by the Rockies. They lost 8-0. You'll hear from Shilt's lengthy press conference coming up next. Basketball tonight, NBA playoffs, game 5s. Celtics looking to close out the Cavaliers. 4 p.m. tip-off time. They're moments away from tipping off in Boston as the Celtics lead that series 3-1. And then a crucial game 5 between the Thunder and Mavericks later tonight, 6:30 tip-off time in OKC with that series tied at 2 games apiece. Spring in now to Toyota Carlsbad and save over 850 new and used Toyotas with new Toyotas arriving daily. Shop and save on Toyota Carlsbad's great inventory at toyotacarlsbad.com. Toyota Carlsbad, the most relaxed and friendly place for over 50 years.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Remarkably, Mike Shildt spoke with the media for 12 minutes and how many seconds, Brent? 12 minutes and
51.
12 minutes and 51 seconds. So we can get to it and then react to it in real time as well, but let's get to it. Padres swept by the Rockies. The end result today, losing 8-0 at home. They're 2 games under 500. Let's hear from the manager of the Padres post-game. Here's Mike Shildt.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some frustration, clearly. I mean, Cantley, you got to tip your hat to Colorado. I mean, they came in and played good baseball. We didn't have a lead in any inning the whole series. Just played from behind, couldn't catch up. But even playing from behind, you know, we didn't really beat ourselves. So your level of frustration is high relative to the results, clearly. But relative to how we actually play, you know, I mean, I'll get to the offense in a minute, but we looked 4 guys in 3 games, you know, and played clean baseball except for a tough play that Kimmy had that, you know, got away from trying to make a baseball play. So there's
we need to stop it. We need to stop it. This is going to take us 2 hours to get through. But how on earth can you possibly say we didn't beat ourselves when in like the first inning of the game, they had a base running blunder? Like literally they had a base, and you're tipping your cap to the Colorado Rockies, who a week ago had the worst record in baseball.
And on Monday night, you had a miscommunication in center field with Merrill and Tatis. The ball dropped and scored a run that cost you the game.
They had like a 3-error game this series. Kimmy had 2 errors in 1 game.
The spin from Shildt is beyond just a next level today.
Let's keep going.
Keep going, Brent.
So there's no frustration in the fact that you look up and if you lose and you beat yourself, you can get pretty frustrated. They just played better. You know, we played clean, didn't give them a whole lot, but they swung the bats, balls found holes, hit a ton of balls at people. I started keeping track of that as the game went. It's like, man, maybe keep track of how many balls we hit at people. But the reality is we lost 3 games and they were better than we were for 3 days.
You mentioned playing from behind. The first 2 games, you played from behind, you came back.
Right.
Today, there wasn't any of that. What did you kind of see from the at-bats?
I thought Gomber was good. I thought Austin threw the ball very well. Seen Austin for a number of years, and you can just tell from the very beginning he had really good rhythm. He was able to throw all his pitches for quality strikes, you know, controlled counts. He was putting the ball where he wanted to, and I thought he threw the ball very well and did a nice job when they were able to get the lead to keep us at bay. So, you know, give him credit.
You say they just beat you, but I mean, this is a team that took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers over the weekend. Like, what does it say about the group that you weren't able to at least pull one out today?
I think I just explained it. I don't know how much more to explain it. I mean, I don't know how you want me to answer that. We won 4 series in a row. And we just came in, we walked 4 guys in 3 games, and this team swung the bats and found holes and hit some homers, and I don't know what else to tell you.
Stop. Okay.
What is this 4 walks in 3 games thing? It's not a game of fewest walks. They might have won the fewest walks game.
This is shaping up, John,
to be an epic 12 minutes.
Continue, Brent.
Continue.
How do you keep it, Mike, from going from being outplayed for 3 days to it becoming 4 and so on?
Well, again, I'm going to take exception with the word outplayed. We lost 3 games.
You got outplayed,
and
Mike.
I'm going to repeat it because I think it clearly needs to be repeated. Look, I'm not defending the fact we lost 3 games. I'm not even alibiing that for a second. I own that. I'll take the responsibility if you want. But I can sit here and it's a different answer to your questions of the game of baseball. We lost 3 games, and then we lost 3 games by beating ourselves and getting outplayed. Now, they played very well. Okay.
Stop. Wait, no. You were outplayed.
When you typically get swept in a series, you get outplayed.
Would you say getting outscored is getting outplayed?
When you lose 8-0, you got outplayed. Why is he so defensive?
Gets so mad.
Why is he so defensive when, Mike, I'm not an idiot. These fans are not idiots. Everybody knows what's happening here and sees what's happening. You got swept. Take it on the chin.
We got to play better.
Be truthful one freaking time in your tiny tenure as Padres manager so far.
Right. He always seems to take offense to the most basic questions. When they were in Colorado, they blew the big lead in the last 2 innings, and then he's like,
bunch of winning gamers.
Yeah, he couldn't believe that somebody would, was going to ask him about that.
What's
it's just
wrong
like, what do you think they're going to ask him?
Said, how do you make sure a 3-game losing streak doesn't turn into 4 or 5? He's like, well, I take exception to being out.
Continue
this. Well, a month ago, we only walked 2 people.
They only walked 4 batters this series.
Oh, wow.
That's what you look at some of the things that determine how you play and whether you beat yourself. The things that I've been following this thing for 30 years, it just didn't work out for us for 3 days. I can't explain that. Am I happy about it? Is that clubhouse happy about it? Are we going to alibi anything? No, we're not going to alibi anything. But I'm also going to look at this thing rationally and go, okay, how did you win 4 series in a row? And you do some of the very exact same things. You don't give anything away. You don't walk anybody. You play clean defense. You compete well. You have good at bats. Ken, the guy threw well today. Like, we've had some good pitching in the past. Sometimes you tip your hat. Came up short 2 days in a row. So I do appreciate that we didn't lose, but I will have to, and not even blindly, because people I think can accuse me of that, defend what we're doing. But, they played good baseball. They found some holes, but I think I've attempted to clear up the distinction of what just happened here, because there's not an overreaction for me moving forward. Now, if we're throwing the balls all over the place and hitting guys and walking guys and, not hitting balls in the barrel and not having an approach, yeah, you'd hear something different out of my mouth, but that wasn't the case for me.
And not to overplay either one of them, but early in yesterday's game and early in today's game, when maybe it could have affected something, Jurickson ran into an out. Today, Toddy had an out where that could have been prevented.
Mm-hmm.
Are those aren't clean? And so I wonder, did you just feel like they didn't?
Yeah, look, if you want to go back to the series for the first and third, we showed highlights today of the 3 positive baseball plays that were first and thirds. Had them edited for our ball talk. Jackson stole a bag. We looked at double steal the first night. And I bring all those things up again, not to alibi, but yes, Jackson got thrown out of second base yesterday. He did. And we'd preferred it not to have happened. And Toddy missed retouching the base. That's clear, and I can't alibi that either. Did it impact all 3 games? I didn't think so. I think your point is we didn't play perfectly clean, and that's accurate.
Is something that can be improved is the consistency of, because you guys have played these excellent stretches, be that 1 game, be that 3 games, whatever, and then be that situational hitting, because that wasn't great this series. Can your guys' consistency be better?
Again, it's interesting that we don't talk about the consistency when we win 4 series in a row for the first time in 3 years. So I just, and again, I've got to defend what
Stop.
You're wrong, bro.
They
You
won 6 straight series last September.
You won 6. Yeah. Where is this like stat being used as like this amazing positive thing that just happened? You just got swept by the Rockies, which has negated pretty much 3 of the last 4 series you just won.
Right. This well, where were you when we won 4 straight series? Saying good things.
Right.
We were right here, man.
We weren't going
Kevin
anywhere.
was writing good things.
Yeah. We were like, hey, this team is playing good baseball after playing a subpar month in April. And this is exactly what we all wanted to see them do, coming off of a month where they didn't play good baseball and had a 5-game losing streak.
This thing is living up to the hype. It's one of the more remarkable post-game press conferences I've ever heard
from a Padres manager.
Certainly covering the Padres.
In my time here for the last decade, covering Andy Green, covering Tingler, covering Melvin, covering now Shildt.
Yeah.
And briefly in there, like a Rob Barajas.
One game.
Like a couple games. And like at the very beginning of my time here, like that, Buddy
was here and they got fired.
Like half a year from Buddy. And then who's the manager of the Brewers right now?
Right.
Brent? Who's the manager of the Brewers?
Right. He was here for half a year.
Pat Murphy.
Pat Murphy, the great Pat Murphy. Can't forget about Pat Murphy. This is shaping up to be. And there's still like 7 minutes
left. How much more is left of this? Maybe 6 minutes, Brett?
Yeah, we're only halfway through it.
All right.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be. I'll keep my reservations for after, but Brent, continue.
Can your guys' consistency be better?
Again, it's interesting that we don't talk about the consistency when we win 4 series in a row for the first time in 3 years. So I just, and again, I've got to defend what I know also. I also look up, and we look at our 2-week report relative to the consistency of the year. And we're a top 10 in almost every base running and offensive metric there is. Okay. And I look at it closely. If we were in the bottom third of our base running or the bottom third of our situational hitting, or even in the middle of the pack, I'd say, yeah, that's not consistent. But if you look at it over a period of time and you look at relative to the league and you realize that you're a top 5 to 8, depending on the metrics you want to follow from the base running standpoint and the defensive standpoint and the offensive standpoint, then you'd say, yeah. And, and we look at that consistency. We're striving for consistency all the time. I don't think I know we're a better version of our club in general over as we've gotten better. All right. So if that was the case, and I looked at our 2-week trends and saw that we weren't improving in some of the base running and offensive categories relative to some of the areas, then yeah, I'd say we need to be more consistent. But I'm a big picture guy, and do recognize that the last 3 games we came up short. But the fact of the matter is we got behind and couldn't scratch and claw. So I'm trying to separate what's consistent and what's not. But I think those are reasonable questions, and hopefully I gave you a reasonable answer.
You didn't.
Michael King has been really good. He really hasn't had the in-between starts where he's just been okay enough. I mean, what did you see out of him today, and why can't we get that more, like, stop the bleeding?
Yeah, he wasn't as crisp today. I think he's clearly thrown the ball exceptionally well the last several times out. Got
Except
a pitch
today.
to Doyle that looked like it maybe cost the middle, and he made him pay for it. And Beck, wrapped one down the line, and wasn't able to hold off guys after that. But I thought he found his rhythm after that ball down the line, and went out and got a clean 4th and struck out 4 in a row, and could have easily gone out and pushed him to get a little bit more in the 6th. But leadoff guy got on, gets Montero striking out. So like, okay, relative to the score, relative to the pitch count, but in a tighter situation, Michael would have kept pitching because he was getting better as the game went. But he got some mistakes and they made him pay. I mean, they swung the bats well and found holes.
After the Dodgers series, are you surprised at all about the amount of booing in this series throughout the whole 3 games?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I expect to win every series, whether we just got through playing, Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars or, whoever we play. And I don't mean to be overly facetious,
pause,
but,
wait,
a little
rewind
levity
that.
maybe,
Rewind
but,
that.
Hold on, Brent. Yeah, rewind that.
Rewind that 5 seconds or 10 seconds, Brent. If we're playing Bingo the Traveling All-Stars, I need to hear this.
Go back to the question, Brent.
That's a Richard Pryor movie from the 1970s. Before you freak out, it's Bingo Long and the Traveling All Stars.
Okay,
but just go back to the Jeff Sanders question, and I want to hear Shildt talk about the booing again, which I think is totally fair because the fans have the right to boo if they want to boo, and they're not considered bad fans if they do it. They paid a lot of money to go to these games, and the Padres have not performed in front of these amazing, amazing fans that are filling up that ballpark every single night. Continue.
After the Dodgers series, are you surprised at all about the amount of booing in this series throughout the whole 3 games?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I expect to win every series, whether we just got through playing, Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars or, whoever we play. And I don't mean to be overly facetious, but, a little levity maybe. But, yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, the sky's not falling in our clubhouse. I can tell you that. I appreciate and understand the questions. I think I've been able to explain and support. And, all I know is our clubhouse is in a good spot. The sky's not falling. We didn't appreciate, didn't enjoy, or disappointed all of the frustration that is real with losing because it's an end-game result. I get it. But I also appreciate the fact that our team's going in a good direction in a lot of areas, and we've just got to be able to put it together with our pitching and our hitting to be able to put together some more wins and more series wins like we've done more recently.
Okay, stop it real quick, Brent.
I know you're hearing.
I agree with that. Sky's not falling. It's not over. And I agree with Shildt there, 100%.
That's great. Continue on.
Shut up.
I'm glad that you let everyone know.
And Mike, I know you're hearing sky is falling questions from us here in the media, but when you hear the boo birds out there at a home game, which we heard more than once today, does that send a different message as opposed to just hearing it from us in here?
Yeah, it sends a message. I mean, listen, people show up and want to win. I get it. I'll answer for it. It's interesting how, a couple days, changes the complexity of how people react. And I get it. I mean, we're here
Stop
to
it right there.
compete and win games.
That's the biggest takeaway from the entire 12-minute and 51-second diatribe is that slight to fans. That is the biggest takeaway. He just said it's amazing what can happen over the course of a day or two. I get it, but he said, but there's 40,000 people there Wednesday at 1 p.m. against the Rockies. 0 of those people are Rockies fans. They're all Padres fans. You've had 250,000 people for the last 6 games. None of this is ever on them, ever. That's completely outside the white lines. None of this is ever the responsibility, or there's never an issue with the fan base when you draw like this.
Never. Ever. The second you start blaming fans for reactions to the team not winning and not playing good baseball and getting outplayed by the Rockies in a 3-game series and now dropping 2 games under 500, you're going to lose all of those fans. And I'm not saying that they're not going to go to the games, because of course they are. That place is going to be filled up to the last seat for the rest of the season, regardless if the team sucks or not. You might see a little dip, but they're going to have one of the best attendance all season long because of these amazing fans. And if you start going at the fan base for them expressing their what is the word? Frustration with this team, you're not going to be here very long.
Yeah, like imagine, it's interesting how they've changed their tune over the last couple of days. They're the fans.
They can do whatever they want.
That's their right.
Well, they have the line, but you get my point.
Continue.
Yeah, it sends a message. I mean, listen, people show up and want to win. I get it. I'll answer for it. It's interesting how, a couple days, changes the complexity of how people react. And I get it. I mean, we're here to compete and win games. And ultimately, I'm not going to alibi it. But you tell me, what do you think message they're sending me and us?
Not happy with the offense. Not happy with the Rockies coming in as one of the worst teams in baseball and 3 straight games in a row.
Yeah, I get it. I understand it. I understand it completely.
The upcoming road trip and Joe Musgrove, do you anticipate him coming back and maybe taking his place back in the rotation on Sunday?
We'll determine that tomorrow when he throws his side, or Friday rather.
In terms of where you guys are at, games like this where you're down early and you're starting pitchers who have been excellent at times but had games like this, where does this fall into the explanation of kind of the fact that you guys haven't been able to kind of get on a roll?
That part we can talk about the consistency, right? I mean, we've been really good with our starting pitching, and I don't think this is this big baseball secret. You have good starting pitching, it helps and protects your bullpen, and it gives you a better chance to win games. And so we've been able to do that in areas, and we haven't been able to be as consistent in other areas, and here we are. So I think that's the best I can do with that question.
Mike, acknowledging what you said about playing clean games and that sort of thing, despite the results, now going to Atlanta, do you feel there's anything you can do or the team can do better or differently to change the ultimate results, or is it just hoping that some of these breaks go in your favor?
Yeah, I don't know how much more to answer these questions. I appreciate them questions. Like,
looking forward.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward too. I guess I live in a different place in a sense of I'm not alibi in the last 3 games. I don't know how else to explain it. Like,
I guess what I'm saying is there anything you can do differently to change?
Yeah, I understand the question. I get it. I don't know what. Yeah, we could score first. We could. There's not going to be a new rock me speech. We won 4 series in a row, all against good teams. So we didn't play as well as we'd like for the outcome. I don't know how to really answer that question any better than that, because I think I've tried multiple times.
That was him at the end?
That was him at the end.
Whoa. I need to decompress.
I need to
and take a deep breath and hear from Padres fans and react to that.
70470. Start your message with team. 877-767-4760. Phone lines is yours, Padres fans. We are here for you. This is a safe place on Jon and Jim. Not wrap up show. Padres fans want to hear from you. Text us, call us. We're on YouTube right now, giving our full reaction to whatever the hell we just heard. I'm flustered.
Also, we're going to catch up with San Diego State's new assistant coach, Ryan Battertelli, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Padres are swept by the Rockies. We react not just to that, but what Mike Shildt had to say about it. That's next on Jon and Jim. All right, so imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free with no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey, guys, it's me, Schaefer. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen, and homeowners are turning their home equity into cash. They're doing it almost instantly with Loan Pronto's AI-based system. You can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home, and you can use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saving real money, $850 a month or more doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for home improvement, literally hundreds of thousands at your fingertips. Approval just minutes away. Call right now, 619-207-4336, 619-207-4336, or loanpronto.com, 619-207-4336, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
This update's brought to you by Allstate. Padres got swept by the Rockies. They lost today 8-0, got outplayed the entire series, even though Mike Shildt says otherwise. They have an off day tomorrow before they start a road trip in Atlanta. 4 games in Atlanta, 3 in Cincinnati starting on Friday afternoon. NBA playoff action happening right now. Game 5 between the Celtics and Cavaliers in Boston. Celtics are trying to close out the Cavs as they lead that series 3-1 right now. That game's tied 26-all with 1:14 left in the first quarter there. And Mavericks Thunder, game 5 of that series, with that series tied up at 2 games apiece, tips off in Oklahoma City at 6:30. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
One right answer when you're getting booed at home. It's kind of like when you go into a store, you go into Macy's and say the jeans don't fit. They don't say prove it. They take back the jeans. And the players recognize it. This is AJ Cassavell from Michael King on the booing. We're fully deserving of it.
Yeah.
If we're playing that poorly. This is from Xander Bogaerts. I always give Bogaerts credit for what he says to the media. He's transparent and honest. You don't like the boos? Play better. Yet Mike Shildt spun it differently. There's never a right way to deal with that other than taking accountability. They're your fans. They're supporting you with their dollar. They have other things they could be doing. They're not made out of money. They don't earn like you earn. Therefore, you need to appreciate they're giving you time and money. And if it's not good enough for them, it stops and ends there. Simple as that.
This might sound probably too in the moment, right? Because we just listened to it and we're giving our instant reaction to things. And maybe I might feel differently in like a couple days or a couple weeks or whatever the case may be. But I've been covering this team for a decade, John, and it's really hard in this moment to think of a more embarrassing press conference than that one that we just listened to, given all the circumstances.
Right.
Andy Green's pressers, there's not much there. They're not expected to win.
Right.
Their payroll's in the 70 millions. They have Rule 5 players everywhere. The only time that Andy Green really got fired up was when he kind of stuck his chest out after they lost the Dodgers and was sick of it and actually was like, yeah, this needs to stop. Like, we're going to be soon coming after the Dodgers, but this type of stuff needs to stop happening.
Sure.
And I kind of respected that. Tingler was a different thing. Tingler was more of a like, he was a one-note guy. We battled, played hard, just got to fight through it, and he was fired after year 2. Melvin, I think, like, say whatever you want about Bob Melvin, he was going to give it to you straight every single time. There was no cringy press conferences, I felt like, maybe 1 or 2 here and there. But this team played bad. If this team got swept in a 3-game series, he's going to let you know we got outplayed. That can't happen if we're expected and we have hopes and aspirations of making the postseason and potentially a World Series run. And then you get to today, we know what's happening. We know what's on the line this season. We kind of know what's at stake. We know the investments that is being put into this team for this season, especially. And it's really hard for me to think of another post-game press conference from a Padres manager in the time that I've been covering this team for the last decade that was more embarrassing than listening to that spin job by Mike Shildt.
By the way, and by the way, we have a job to do, which is to hold them to a level of accountability. And by the way, most people appreciate it. How do I know? Because I see the reaction on social media. I see the people in our chat. I have the text line. However, there's always a contrarian, and I'll give you one. 70470 started with team. 619. Your constant sky is falling takes daily on radio do exponentially more damage to the city's fan base than one comment about being surprised about the fans booing after a bad series. Most people wouldn't make a big deal about it, but sounds like you'll be talking about it for a few weeks. Stop looking to get everyone fired. That's not your job. No, but guess what? If we don't comment on what we see as a slight to the fans because of what Mike Shildt is saying post-game to the media, then who will?
Hey, texter, you might be listening to us for the first time because you like to listen to Doom Talk Radio, maybe. Or you like to just kind of tune in when the sky's falling. But if you are a loyal listener, One, thank you. And two, then you must have just like not heard us for the last 2.5 weeks. And you must have not heard us on Monday when Jon said he was all in. And we were praising this team for playing really good baseball against the Dodgers. And we were praising this team for winning 4 series in a row, which Shildt has loved to say the last couple of days. Like, the thing about our show, and I think people like, they listen at certain times, and I get it. And maybe it's the only times you're listening is when we're critical of the team because they're not playing well. But when they play well, Jon, and they play good baseball, guess what? We tell you about it and we react accordingly. And we give you our opinions, and we have things like Jon says he's all in. Like I say, like, I feel really good about this team. The only thing that's missing is the stars performing. And if the stars start performing, then guess what? Maybe this team turns into a really good baseball team.
I've been overly glowing of Mike Shildt's job as a manager. He doesn't need to do more than what he's done on field with the team. Now the proof's in the pudding. They're 22-24. He can do a better job. The team can play better. He doesn't need to go sell me on a team that's 22-24. He needs to get his team pointed in the right direction. All he had to say, this won't end, by the way. If they don't win, you're going to get more and more of this type of feedback from the media and questioning that's going to rub him the wrong way. You just need to sometimes take some level of accountability and say, you know what, it was a bad series. It's not going to define our year. Trust me, we're going to move on and be better for it. We have to play better. It starts with me. I've talked to the clubhouse. I've communicated with them. This isn't acceptable. It is only one series, but what happened these 3 days isn't good enough for us to get to where we want to go. Simple.
Yeah.
You've hurt nobody's feelings, and you've told the truth.
Yeah, no, I don't care. And so my opinion on this press conference is like, 2 things are true. The sky is not falling. It is not season over. It's not DEFCON 1. It's not like, knock on wood, a star player, a key contributor to this team got injured. They lost 3 games to the Rockies. They got handled pretty easily by them in 3 straight games. They got outplayed. You move on, and hopefully you start playing better baseball against good teams, because that's the one thing, or one of the one things that you've done really well this year is play good baseball against good teams. You play the Atlanta Braves for a 4-game series started on Friday, and Joe Musgrove might return on Sunday. But like, bigger picture, problem. But the results, I will continue to say it, are all that matters. It's all that matters. I don't care about how you only allowed 4 walks in a series to a team. I don't care about how, you hit the ball hard some places. It just happened to turn into outs. Maybe you have to care about that, but don't tell me that that's like a super important thing.
Right. We only issued 4 walks.
Like, behind closed doors, absolutely. Right. You can't just be doom and gloom all the time.
Yep.
If you're behind closed doors, if you continue to lose games, you have to figure out the ways to get some type of positive to your players. I understand that, but the fans don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that at all. What they want to hear is, we need to play better. If we're have the aspirations that we do, which is making the postseason, and we feel really good about this team, we can't have series like that. We know how important it was last year because we missed out the postseason by 2 games, how these games could come back to bite us in the ass. So going forward, we need to be on our game better. We need to be sharper. We need to do the little things right. We can't get thrown out at second base. We can't, have base running errors. We can't have fielding errors. We got to make better pitches. We got to be better at the plate. Like, we got to do all of this stuff better if we want to go where we think we can go. Instead, it's just this giant spin job, honestly, that's by Shildt.
It's more of the story. If his job is to deflect, he's done an amazing job. I mean, if you listen to that, who cares that they lost 8-0 to the Rockies? I care more about what he said in that 12-minute, 51-second diatribe. The part I truly couldn't believe, I thought it would just be Shildt-isms and defending his players. When you start talking about the fans in any regard other than positive, you've gone way too far. I mean, way too far. The type of thing that's a complete PR nightmare when you start talking about, oh, interesting, a couple of days, how the fans feel a little differently about us. Leave the fans out of this. The fans are above reproach. You cannot question your own fan base. That's utterly absurd. This is the top draw in Major League Baseball right now, and you're 22-24. So that to me goes way too far. Is a huge storyline. And all of a sudden they lost 8-0 to the Rockies. Who really cares? After listening to that 12 minutes and 51 seconds, it's more to me about everything he said than it was about how they play this week. All right, further reaction on the other side. We're with you until 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right, people are heated right now for whatever reason at all types of different things. Let's get back to what happened on field. Padres fall to the Rockies. They're swept at home by Colorado. Stay with us. All right, the good news is we can talk to Ryan Battertelli, new San Diego State assistant men's basketball coach, coming up at 5 p.m. Just named today an assistant. Chris Acker, of course, taking over at Long Beach State. So we'll get into Ryan's career. 19 years at UC Irvine. Also, remarkably, spent over a decade working and training with Kobe Bryant at Irvine when Kobe lived in Orange County. Really remarkable story that we can get into with Ryan Battertelli, who will join us coming up in about 15 minutes.
I honestly, I wasn't even that like upset after the loss. Like it wasn't something that I was like, okay, time to flip the table type of thing. The Shildt press conference has now like pushed,
it set you off.
It pushed me over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
It really did. Because I don't have much of it, but like don't insult our intelligence as baseball fans. We know what we're watching, and we know what we watched the last 3 days. It wasn't good. Don't tell me the sky's green when I know it's blue. Like, what? Like, just take a step back, Shildt, okay? You don't have to spin everything. I know you want to make it so that everything you say is like this backing of your clubhouse and team. I think they know that you back them.
Almost like he's a defense lawyer. And like everything you say has to be in the defense of your client.
Like I think they know. I think they understand that you have their backs.
You're a pro Padres.
You're a pro Padre, okay?
Right.
You are 100% pro Padre. You are going to look at all the positives, even though the negatives are staring everybody in the face. And that's you. It's fine.
Before they hired him, when they were checking the pros and cons, they went, pro Padre.
Pro Padre, pro far. So I am not sitting here saying the sky's falling. I am not sitting here saying that this thing is going to go south. I don't think that. I think that this team is going to be battling around 500 for the majority of the season. And then there's going to have to be some stretch of games, like a 3-week period, where they, go, 12-4 potentially, or if that's even a 12-week span, I don't know, or 3-week span, I don't know. But you're going to have to have a really, really good stretch of baseball. And then if you're around 500, you're around 500 for the rest of the way. But you're going to have a stretch of baseball where you play really good.
They just did. They went 8-3. It's like their best stretch other than September of last year, and it hasn't bought them anything. There's ebbs and flows. They can have another. Well, they could have a 10-3, but if you get swept by the Rockies, then all of a sudden you look up and it's a 10-6.
Well, the 10-3 is fine as long as the rest of the time you're 500-ish.
Right, but now it's like
500 a little bit.
But now we're talking really in theoreticals.
I know.
It's just not. It's not who that we can. Like they say in the NFL. Well, we look at the schedule in 4-game quadrants. Yeah, that's great until you lose 3 straight games. And now you got to spin the narrative and say, well, we lost that quadrant. So now the third quadrant. Yeah, here's the truth. Here's the truth. Like you said, the sky is not falling. They're just 22-24. Here, all he should have said.
Last year, they were 20-26 at this time.
All he has to say is we need to play better.
Yeah, that's it.
And honestly, this is where I really appreciate Bob Melvin. Now, in hearing this from Shildt, Bob Melvin would have been very short and matter of fact. He would not have tried to hold his individual players accountable. Say, listen, I went into the clubhouse. I think we need to do a better job of getting our point across. I think we need to play with more urgency. This series wasn't good enough. And I've let the team know that for us to get to where we need to get, I think we've got to have a better road trip than the homestand we just had. So that'll be our goal come Friday night in Atlanta. And guess what? We have been better on the road for whatever reason. Yeah. And guess what? We have been good against good teams. So let's hope that we pick up there on Friday night. That's my expectation. That's what I would say.
We don't have it, but if you go and search right now, Ron Washington post game last night,
he called out his hitter. Actually,
no, I wouldn't advocate to go this far.
Neither would I.
I wouldn't. I'd rather just have it tell to me like it is, like how you just explained what Bob Melvin said the last 2 years.
Yep.
He kept it to you real. And if you didn't like it and you like this from Shildt, then okay, whatever. But Ron Washington last night basically called out one of his players for not getting a bunt down, saying it's not on me, it's on him.
Right. Suicide squeeze. He said the pitch was a strike. By the way, it was nowhere near a strike.
That I don't think would play at all in this clubhouse. I think you would get eviscerated pretty quickly and you would lose half of the clubhouse pretty quickly.
No, I don't think Ron Washington really cares at this point in his career. His final job.
Yeah, he's not.
Team's not good.
The end of his tenure with the Angels will be a firing.
But what about somewhere in between where you don't have to come fully to the defense of your team? You don't have to fully out your players that don't come through.
It's Melvin. That's what.
That's to some extent. Yeah.
I say whatever you want about his managing style, keeping guys in too long, his bullpen management. Okay, it's all fair in games, fine. But at least the post games, I respected because I knew he was going to BS anybody. I knew he wasn't going to try to spin that they won, 6 series to end the year. It was a bad season. I mean, did you think that? Like, I imagine Shildt in Bob Melvin's spot at the end of last year,
or all year, trying to fight that uphill battle all season,
spinning it, and then at the end of last season when they won 6 series in a row, which Shildt thinks that 4 series in a row is the most since 2021, even though they won 6 in a row last year in September. After the most disappointing season in Padres history, do you think Shildt would have spun it like, well, he finished the year strong? Because I bet you he would.
I know he would.
I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear that.
I'm at a loss for the way he's rationalizing it. I'm not at a loss for the team. I'm truly not. I think there's some good in there, and we are collectively not saying it's not falling the sky.
No.
It's not over the season. I'm talking like Eeyore or like Yoda. But no, everything is okay in that regard. Now, I don't think you want to get 6 or 8 under. You don't want this 3-game losing streak. And that was Darnay's question, completely legitimate. How do you, moving forward, kind of learn from these 3 games? Because Atlanta's been very good. They're 26-13, I think, heading into the day. They're winning 2 out of every 3 games. You don't want to go there and lose 3 or 4. All of a sudden, you look up, you're 4 or 5 under, and it is harder to dig out. I have no concerns with them digging out from 2 games under 500. It's not a lot of games. I'm going to have additional concerns if they fall 6 under, if they fall 8 under. And I think that's a legitimate line of questioning. But as we sit here today, I'm not concerned about their ability to hang around in playoff contention, hover around 500, hopefully get above it as well. That wasn't my concern, but Mike Shildt was treating the questions like the season is over, but nobody was saying that the season is over.
I think Mike Shildt's a fine manager. He's fine. I don't have any problems with many of his in-game things, honestly. I can't remember a time this year so far where we've come on the radio and had a discussion where we're like, why did Mike Shildt do this in the 8th inning of this game?
No, I've been very complimentary of Mike Shildt's managing.
Me too. Yeah. I've kind of defended Mike Shildt when people have ripped Mike Shildt for his bullpen usage.
I think he's done to your point, I think he's done a better than fine job. I really do.
I think so too. It's the after game stuff, trying to explain what happened to us, which I do have the problem with. And it's something that I hope doesn't leak into the outcomes of the season, where we're going to be sitting here at the end of the year listening to a spin job from Shildt.
Let's talk some Aztec hoops for 10 minutes or so with Ryan Badratelli. He is the new San Diego State assistant men's basketball coach after spending 19 years at UC Irvine. Has a really fascinating backstory as well, spending over a decade training and had a relationship, a friendship with Kobe Bryant during his time in Irvine as well. So Ryan Badratelli will join us on the other side. San Diego State's new basketball assistant. Hour 3 of Jon and Jim is next.
All right, this update is brought to you by mattress firm Padres. They got outplayed the last 3 days by the Colorado Rockies, even though Shildt would say otherwise. They lost 8-0 today. They got swept. They're now 2 games under 500 on the year. They have an off day tomorrow before they start a road trip through Atlanta and Cincinnati on Friday afternoon. Joe Musgrove expected to return to the rotation this weekend. And NBA playoffs happening right now. Celtics looking to close out the Cleveland Cavs in Game 5 as they lead that series 3-1. They lead the Cavs 51-48 with 2:03 left in the first half. Thunder Mavericks, crucial Game 5 there, with that series tied at 2 games apiece. 6:30 tip-off time there. The NFL schedule release, John, is happening right now. We already know the kickoff to the NFL season next year will be the Chiefs taking on the Ravens. Mattress Firm Memorial Day sale is here. Save up to $500 on select adjustable bed sets like the all-new Temper Adapt collection with advanced pressure relief to help reduce aches and pains. Plus, get a $300 instant gift for pillows and more. Hurry in a Mattress Firm today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? We kick off hour number 3 of Jon and Jim, and it's great to catch up with a new Aztec men's basketball assistant coach, Ryan Battertelli, who spent nearly 2 decades coaching in all types of roles during your tenure at UC Irvine. He's joining us right now on Jon and Jim, home of the Aztecs. So, Coach, first of all, congratulations on this new opportunity. I mean, you were with such a premier program in the Big West, Irvine, all the successes over the last decade plus. First of all, congratulations. And secondly, how excited are you for this opportunity? And thank you for hopping on.
Hey, Jon, Jim, thanks so much for having me. I mean, it's really a privilege and an honor to be with you guys. And I appreciate the congratulations. I'm incredibly excited. I was talking with my wife the other day and I was like, I don't know what exactly I'm feeling. And she said, well, for the first time in 18 years, you're the new guy. And, welcoming new staff and players to UC Irvine has been my role for the last, 19 years. And being the new guy is exciting and refreshing, but also comes with, some anxiety of not really knowing what that feels like. And in our business, it's rare that you stay one place for a long time, but again, looking at the Aztec family, I mean, that's what the Aztecs do for the most part. And so I feel really comfortable walking to a place that has that kind of culture, that fits, really what I'm used to. And I couldn't be more excited to be joining, this program in this city and be a part of it. Super excited.
From outside looking in, Coach, what's the thing that stands out to you the most about San Diego State basketball?
Culture, winning, representation of this city. Again, being in Orange County and, obviously going to school at UCLA, being able to watch San Diego State from, far enough distance, but also close enough to see how they've done it, how they've built it. And it's been really the right way. And so the tradition that has been built, over the years through Coach Fisher and then Coach Dutcher and the staffs that they've brought in, it has everything to do with the people. And then obviously the university and the city has been a big part of that as well. And so it's really interesting to watch from my perspective, this program grow through, really my youth and then, through my coaching career. And it just speaks to everything that it's about. It's a little bit hidden and off the beaten path in some ways, down here in deep Southern California, but it makes big noise and it has unbelievable tradition and culture. And it's all about winning and making it about winning, and the selflessness that the student athletes that have had here in making it about winning, which is really hard and really rare, is something that resonates really strongly with me.
Really well said. Ryan Bartatelli is with us, new San Diego State assistant men's basketball coach for Brian Dutcher here on the Mesa. Now, you come from one of the elite defensive programs in the West, UC Irvine, and you come to a program that's also been defined and built, obviously, on its defensive culture. Does that help make the process more seamless?
No question. I mean, being in a program that has established a defensive identity and building it in a way. I mean, defense in basketball in general and sports is about toughness. It's about commitment. It's about togetherness. And so, doing that on the court is a reflection of your locker room, is a reflection of your head coach, is a reflection of your staff. And so I know that because that's how we've built it at UC Irvine. And I'm able to look at, San Diego State and look, you don't have to look too far to understand why they've been that way. And so, the transition for me in a defensive identity and a demand defensively for the players to do those things is a seamless, adjustment for me, moving into this role. And so I'm excited about that. I think, San Diego State and UC Irvine in a lot of ways mirror each other in terms of, the defensive identity and the culture of toughness and competitiveness. And, so in that way, I feel like a lot of ways it'll be a relatively easy adjustment for me to be able to, kind of speak that same language that they already have here.
With the culture of the NIL and the NIL era and the transfer portal era now in college basketball, the job of assistant is pretty important. So how has that changed with being the assistant coach now with the NIL and, the transfer portal, how crazy that is in college basketball?
Well, I think the best coaches, whether it's assistant or head coaches, and it's the same as players, they're adaptable. I think you have to adapt to a new landscape in college basketball, but you also have to stick with, what your philosophy is and what your culture is. And I think finding that balance of including NIL in the conversation and it being an important part of the conversation, and also maintaining your culture and being about, the right things and about, what San Diego State basketball is at its core, I think is that delicate balance that you have to find. And San Diego State has been on the forefront of really trying to find that, but also finding players that really value what San Diego State is and not making it just about NIL. And so, finding the right players that kind of, value those things, I think is as important as anything. And, but yeah, as an assistant coach, you have to understand what that landscape is, but also understand the philosophy of the head coach in terms of what they want and the kind of people they want, because that's what's going to be able to help you, have success in March when it's all said and done.
Ryan Bartatelli with us right now, new San Diego State assistant coach. People talk about culture and what that means. Obviously, it's been defined here over a quarter century, like you said, with Brian Dutcher and Steve Fisher. But in your experience at Irvine, where you won a ton of games, as an assistant, 14 years, you guys won 289 games at UC Irvine, made the NCAA tournament multiple times, had a win in the tournament back in 2019. You averaged 20-plus wins. What are the hallmarks of winning? What does it take to consistently win based on your experiences?
Well, I think it goes back to, the people. You have to get the right people that are about the right things. And, in our business, it's finding, obviously it starts with your head coach and your staff that make, winning, really what, separates yourself from everything else. And it's the same thing with your student athletes. And then you create buy-in over time, from the student athletes, because, I always think, human nature is a selfish nature in general. And so how do you get young people, especially this day and age, to care about each other's success and make the program bigger than everything else? And so that's a daily process. It's who you recruit to your program. It's the people that, lead the program. And then it's a constant, calibration of making sure that we stay in the right range of all that with your players. And understanding also that the better, the team does and the better team success you have, the better it is for everybody. And so as long as you continue to perpetuate that message amongst the team and everybody, again, makes it about winning and enjoys each other's success genuinely, then you have a chance to do really special things. And San Diego State's proven that. I mean, they've had really, really good players, and a lot of teams do. But what separates the special ones are the ones that really are about each other and care about, this thing being, bigger than themselves. And that's a hard thing, for anybody to do, but especially, 18 to 20, 22, 23-year-olds.
Well, what do you make of the current roster that you're coming in to help coach?
Well, I'm excited about it. I mean, I look at the roster, of guys that are returning, and I see great talent. I see a couple guys that, that really are in position to take that next step. Again, a place like San Diego State, you look at it and you may look at it and say, hey, well, they lost, certain guys or what have you. But there are guys that are developing every day that are in the gym working their butts off to get ready for that opportunity. And so, again, that resonates closely with me. I mean, we lost two of our better players, all conference players, going into last season, and we got picked 5th. And then we won the conference by 3 games because we had, guys that were ready coming behind the guys that had left. And I think it's a really similar situation here at San Diego State, and then adding pieces through the transfer portal and with the freshman class that I think people around here are going to be really, really excited about. And I'm excited to take that, that new step with some of these new guys with them. But I think people around here are going to be really pleasantly surprised with this roster and what they can do.
Ryan, it's interesting because I think in reading about it, there weren't a ton of people that knew about your friendship, relationship with Kobe Bryant until his untimely passing. But, you spent a decade plus with Kobe on the court, off the floor, training, and well beyond that. When you consider that relationship, that friendship, your experience with him, what are your takeaways? What do you take from that experience and relationship still with you even after his passing?
Well, I mean, obviously I lost a close friend and what I consider to be one of my closest mentors. I mean, it was really an incredible relationship in a lot of ways because he was close enough, obviously, with what I was doing on a day-to-day basis, but also removed from college basketball to be able to give me good, sound advice in my own space in coaching. And I relied on him really heavily. And so that was a unique and special relationship that we had. And he, has left a lasting imprint on me in terms of, just how I look at the game, how I study the game, how I approach, working with student athletes and learning how to really find ways to push them to levels that they maybe didn't even realize that they had. And working with Kobe on a daily basis, it was extremely challenging to really try to, hit buttons with him because he was on all the time. He was at a competitive level just so consistently. And so my job was to make him uncomfortable. And so we would challenge each other. He would challenge me to do that for him. And that just sharpened my own tools in terms of, player development and finding different ways to be creative and to challenge him. And, so I, wake up every day trying to figure out ways to continue to evolve, to try to help, these student athletes, be, the best version of themselves. And again, that has really imprinted on me and that's how I've gone about my business, really ever since we met.
Really fascinating. And Ryan, we're excited to have you on the Mesa. We really are. I mean, you've had an incredible career to this point in a variety of facets, including all your successes as an assistant coach, associate head coach as well at UC Irvine. Of course, San Diego State will get back underway this fall at Viejas Arena and beyond. Ryan Battertelli, new assistant on the Mesa. Ryan, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And we look forward to doing it again soon.
Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate you guys so much. Go Aztecs.
All right, there we are. Ryan Battertelli. Very, very cool. Again, the backstory there with Kobe is Kobe lived in Orange County, literally called up Irvine. Is like, can I train here?
Yeah.
And the person that he ultimately trained with was Ryan Battertelli for like 10 plus years. In fact, one of the backstories there is that I think 6 years after the Lakers won a championship, Kobe had in his desk drawer a Lakers championship ring with Ryan's last name on it from 6 years prior. That speaks to the type of relationship and the way, these two interacted with each other over the years. Really fascinating stuff.
Wow. That's a great story. And I think when you look at the staff that Dutch has assembled, the players that Dutch has brought in here, players that still might come in here, there's not done yet, right? could be not, could add someone here in the future. Who knows? I just think as an Aztecs fan, like this is exciting. I don't see. I understand the whole transfer portal thing and coming off of two straight Sweet 16s. You want these guys to be here forever, but that's just not how it works in college basketball.
True.
And I think the players that Dutch has brought in on paper, they're exciting. Now we'll see how they play on the court together and how they gel as a team. But I think they have some good pieces, and I think that going into next season, you can't help but be excited if you're an Aztec fan, I feel like.
Completely agree with you. I want to get back to a text. Obviously, we've spent a lot of the show talking about the Padres getting swept at home by the Rockies, and it is for the season clearly a low point, but it hasn't defined their season. They're 2 games
not rock bottom
under 500
yet.
This is an interesting text I want to read from the 619 that I kind of appreciate, and he says it better than I think sometimes maybe we're able to say it when we have these conversations. So 619 says this. This is to support Jon and Jim's criticisms of the Padres. While not everyone may grasp this concept immediately, consider it akin to the structure of a government.
Okay.
Just as checks and balances are necessary to maintain stability and prevent authoritarianism.
Wow.
These are big words. Similar mechanisms are essential in sports media. Media serves as a vital check against the dissemination of solely favorable messaging by sports franchises who naturally prioritize their own interests. It's unrealistic to expect franchises to be self-critical in their public communications. Therefore, the presence of media scrutiny is crucial in shedding light on the true challenges and complexities a franchise may be facing. Disparaging the role of the free press. Now, this is going a little far, but I guess only serves to promote a narrow-minded perspective. Yes, we're just trying to provide a lane that maybe you're not getting elsewhere.
Remember last year when this team was fully rock bottom? And what happened? Kevin and Dennis both released some pretty scathing articles about the franchise. One was specifically about the clubhouse dynamic and specifically about Manny Machado.
Right.
That was from Kevin. And the other was Dennis doing another deep dive on the dynamics with Preller inside the organization. And there were a lot of unnamed sources. They were, sourced for months and months and months, by the way. And what was kind of like the majority opinion about those articles, it was, we hate you. And by we hate you, I'm talking about Kevin and Dennis.
You're saying that the vitriol was pointed at the media members
instead of
for writing the pieces as opposed to at maybe the players that were at fault for why the season went sideways?
Correct.
Yeah, I would agree.
And
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, whoa. No,
I don't know if it was all vitriol.
No.
But there was criticism.
I said majority, and that's probably too much.
Maybe
it was a small minority that felt like a bigger group.
Or the loud minority.
Yeah, loud minority.
Yep.
Because on social media, you can have 20 people.
Yeah, 100
and it
people.
feels like
still
300.
not a million. Yeah, exactly.
It's not. But like it's not our job is to give our opinions about what we think. And Kevin's and Dennis's are more often than not to not give opinions, but to give fact-based, sourced articles on what's happening behind closed doors and what's happening in that clubhouse because the fans aren't in there. And so if you don't like our opinions, like we can't do anything about that.
That's fine.
That's fine. that's fine. I understand.
That's cool.
I don't like everybody's opinions about certain things as well. But that's what I'm just doing. I'm giving you my opinion, and I just gave you my opinion today about Mike Shilt's press conference after the game, spinning it, and I thought it was embarrassing. I thought it was probably one of the low points of maybe as a Padres manager has had post game for a long time.
I think what can be, honestly, because like you just said, I mean, none of us are perfect. And again, we're all going to receive a level of criticism if we're kind of in that public sphere. People come after us, and it's reasonable. It's fair. We understand it. We talk to people every single day. People come after Manny Machado. It's fair. He understands it. They're going to come after Mike Shildt because he talks to the media multiple times a day. He can't be perfect. He will have missteps. There's no question about it. I do think, though, there's probably something to be learned from some of these interactions that could better serve him moving forward, which is, I think you're going to have to put in more realism and honesty with the media. And I think it actually is going to go a long way, potentially with the fan base. There is a time to defend. There is a time to be in a corner, but you can't solely be defensive. You can't solely be in a corner. You need to be adaptable, mendable, malleable, right? You can't. Hey, we got swept at home by the Rockies, who hadn't won a 3-game series on the road in front of fans in 5 years. That's okay to say that's not good enough. That's not saying I should be fired. It's just saying over 162, we have the ability to play better than we did over these 3 games. He literally said today he took exception to a question with the word phrasing being that they were outplayed, but they were, Jim. We watched the games. They truly were outplayed for the better part of the series.
They're 7-6 this month now, John. They're 7-6. They were 7-3 going into this series. I was expecting a series win. I was expecting no less than 2 out of 3.
Yeah, me too. I thought 2 out of 3. I didn't think they were going to sweep them. I didn't. I thought they'd win 2 out of 3.
Yeah, and they didn't. They got beat handily.
Yeah, they did.
Like they didn't. Did they lead at any point in the series?
No.
They got shut out today by Austin Gomber, of all people.
He's had a nice year.
He's been
It's
fine.
like a 3 ERA. Yep.
Whatever. But to just kind of glaze over the fact that you just lost a 3-game series it just bugs me, man. It really does, because we know where we're watching, and the last 3 games were not good. Doesn't mean the season's over.
No, not at all.
You gotta to know that your fan base is extremely smart, and they just got off of watching a season last year that was hell, and everybody still has the scars from what happened last year in 2023. So you also have to understand that as well, that you just came off the most disappointing season in Padres history. All right. You're a team that has gone all in this year again by making some big time trades, and trades that we both think are great. And you're under 500 now, 2 games under, and you just lost to the worst team in the National League, or at least one of the worst teams in the National League. They're playing much better now because they've won 7 in a row. But you just lost a 3-game series at home to the last place team in your division, and going back 2 games under 500 in a year where you got to make the postseason. That is the only thing that matters. Doesn't mean that they can't, because they lost 3 games here, right? But if there's any expectation for this season, this type of stuff can't just be glossed over and spun as being not that bad.
Yeah, 2-5 against the Rockies is 2-5 against the Rockies. Let's be honest. All right, let's go to the phones quickly. Darren, we appreciate you calling in. Darren, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you?
Yeah, good, man. How are you? I mean, relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking. No, you guys are so right about this whole press conference thing. And I mean, there's so many things that we could nitpick about the Padres right now. But truly, I know it sounds dumb and I'm never going to get my wish, but I really just want someone in the Padres brass, manager, CEO, general manager, to simply just apologize to the fans. Because what you have this year, you had season ticket prices go up by 20%. Prices on food, beverage went up like crazy, and then you have the CEO come on the radio and say, well, season ticket holders, don't want to pay for your ticket. Someone else will, because we have a waiting list. And you just kind of feel like you've been kicked in the nuts a little bit as a fan. The team goes out and they look like they're headed for another 500 at best year. And all we get are a salty manager saying that, we didn't actually get outplayed after losing to the worst team in baseball at home 3 games in a row. So I just don't feel as a fan, number one, appreciated. And then, you just go out and have to watch lifeless performances every night. I just think the state of the Padres is worse than people are saying right now.
Darren, appreciate you. And again, I really did take exception to Mike Shildt having any negative tone towards the boos coming from the fans. I mean, that to me is really shocking. That's how far you're willing to defend, that you're willing to even, you're even willing to question fans booing the team. You can never, ever, ever, ever go there. No. And he kind of went there. If you listen to the 12:51, 12 minutes and 51 seconds, he went somewhere where you really don't go.
He was implying
it.
He was like, oh, now you guys are booing after just a couple
games. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
What do you think is worse, Shildt saying that, or Manny when he gave his famous, oh, well, we don't want to hear from you in a month when they're freaking raking?
Probably this.
Well, oh yeah, he said like.
Remember,
what
he
did
said,
Manny
"Well,
say? What
if
was
you're
the
going to be
term?
against us now, don't jump on the bandwagon when
Right.
we're raking."
You better jump on the bandwagon now because we're start raking here.
But
pretty
unfortunately,
soon.
they didn't.
That wasn't an attack at like the fans because
No, it wasn't.
it wasn't like, hey, they're upset with my play and they boo me every time I go to the plate. Screw you guys. It's not like an Ian Kinsler situation where he flipped off the fan base.
That was amazing, too.
Oh, my
All
God.
right, well, let's continue this conversation. If you have thoughts on it, we'd love to hear from you. 877-767-4760. It's Jon and Jim. All right, so you're heading out of work. You're hungry. It's been a long day. You've been running from point A to point B. Now you got to pick up the kids. Maybe you're thinking about dinner, but you're hungry, and now all of a sudden you want to eat unhealthy. I can prevent you from doing that as simply as picking up some Almond RX packs. That's all you need to do by going to almondrx.com. You're going to get free shipping on orders of $25 or more. You're going to eat healthier. You're going to eliminate the vending machine from your day, which is a time saver and a money saver. You're getting your daily dose of vitamin D, which is an immunity booster. Your whole family's going to love it. Trust me. My wife loves them. My 5-year-old son, Jones, loves them. It's a healthy snack that's also tasty. That curbs hunger. It's Almond RX, the first and only skinless almond fortified with vitamin D that has a daily serving of 23 almonds and was founded by a San Diego sports medicine physician. Almond RX is packed with nutrients, supporting your heart, cellular health, and gut health as well. You can find Almond RX at any Foodland in San Diego County. You can find them as well at Harvest Ranch at Encinitas, or like I told you earlier, almondrx.com, ALMONDRX.com. If you go there right now, you're getting free shipping on all orders of $25 or more. Almond RX curbs hunger and is perfect for the on-the-go lifestyle.
This update is brought to you by Discover. Padres got swept by the Colorado Rockies as they lost today 8-0. They have an off day tomorrow. They're 2 games back under 500. They're starting a 7-game road trip in Atlanta and Cincinnati starting Friday night. Moving over to NBA. Playoff basketball happening right now. Game 5, Celtics and Cavaliers. Celtics looking to close out the Cavs. They lead that series 3-1. They're up 69-59 with 7:42 left in the third quarter there. And a crucial Game 5 between the Thunder and the Mavericks in OKC. 6:30 tip-off time for that one. The NFL schedule has been released. The opener will be the Chiefs taking on the Ravens. As humans, we like having options. One option you might like is speaking with a real person when you call about your credit card with 24/7 live US-based customer service from Discover. Everyone can talk to a real person anytime, day or night. Limitations apply. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere. Whether you're stepping out of the car or settling in at home, just ask your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play AM 760 or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier to stay connected with your favorite shows like this one. San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go. Here are the 17 opponents in order for the Chargers. I'm kidding. All right, so Manny Machado. I don't know. Who cares? We have 5 months on that. Manny Machado was asked about the booze by Marty, okay? And you can find this on YouTube. Search for Marty Caswell. And I respect what I'm hearing from the clubhouse. Michael King said, play better.
Yeah.
Xander Bogart said, play better. Manny Machado said this. Yeah, if they did boo, we played really bad baseball. That's deserved. So the clubhouse gets it. They understand it. Manny's been in the big leagues for over a decade. You got to have a level of honesty and transparency that his manager isn't necessarily conveying. So the players have no issue with it. They know who pays them. You know what I mean? Seriously, you don't get these salaries without all the revenue streams, which includes obviously the fan bases in Major League Baseball. What's right is right, and what is right is the fans can do whatever the heck they want within reason. Obviously,
There's always a line.
Of course, there's a line, but booing is certainly not. You're not crossing any line by booing. That's for sure.
No, you're absolutely not. When you're paying $400 to go to a Wednesday afternoon baseball game against the Colorado Rockies, if you want to boo because you just watched the Padres lose 8-0 and you kind of feel like you wasted $400 while watching that game, guess what? You can boo. It's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
No one's gonna sit here and say you're a bad fan if you boo. Well, on this show at least, like it means you care.
Yep,
it means you care. I think if you didn't get booed, if no one showed up to the games, that's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
If there were 5,000 people there today, John, and we're not talking about the Padres after this game, instead we're talking NFL schedule release, which is still a big story.
Yeah.
But like in San Diego, the number one thing is the Padres. That's a way worse thing to be happening than what's going on right now at Petco Park with the place being packed, fans caring a lot, showing their emotion because they're so invested in this team and they want to see this team win so badly that if they want to boo because the product on the field they're watching isn't good enough for them, for all the money that they're paying to go to these games, guess what? They can boo.
Absolutely. I mean, apathy would be a disaster, and that they're nowhere near it. They're one of the best draws in baseball. Even today, overcast, marine layer. I said it, 1 o'clock. I think they announced maybe around 40. There weren't 40 in the building, but it's a huge crowd. It's Wednesday afternoon against Colorado.
Dude, 2017 when I was,
there was no one there. I know. Remember the season? There was no one there.
When I was there working every game, nobody for a Wednesday Rockies
10,000 people. I mean, so we're not there, thankfully. Nobody wants to see that. Let's go back to the phones because Rick wants to weigh in. 877-767-4760. Rick, thank you for calling in. You're on with Jon and Jim. Thank you.
Sure. What we are talking about is what hopefully your show is about, which is honesty.
Yeah.
So when Mike Shildt was fired, what I read in the newspapers, it was extremely traumatic for him. And when he got the opportunity to manage again, he must have told himself, I love it. I miss the game. I do not want to blow this opportunity.
Okay.
I am sure when he got hired, AJ Preller said, none of this stuff Bob Melvin was doing about honesty, forget it. I want to hear positivity. I want to hear you're a team player. I want to hear only good things. And I want only good things, even if they're not playing well. I think that Shildt is really afraid of losing his job. I think he was told to be a team guy. I think it goes through the entire management of the Padres organization. Like that last caller said, you don't like your season tickets? We got a bunch of people who will take your place in a second. So I think it's a juxtaposition of honesty, your show, versus Shildt feels like, I do not want to lose my job again, like I did in St. Louis, because the word was he got fired because he differed with management.
Rick,
So
thank
I
you.
think we're going to hear.
Yeah, no, really good call. Listen, that's the thing. I mean, we're not trying to be anything other than fair. You may take it as criticism, which I think is reasonable and fair, but we're not trying to take it outside the white lines with it. And we tell you the good with Shildt the way we see it, and we tell you the bad with Shildt the way we see it. And we feel as if that's 100% right. I mean, if you only took Mike Shildt at his word, face value, what would you be taking, Padres fans?
You would think this team is better than they are by a lot.
I mean, this would be like 98 Yankees.
Better. Like 98 Padres.
Right, exactly. Well, what was better than that? The 98 Yankees, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. I would be curious, and maybe that's our fault, for not maybe researching more of how Shildt was as a manager in St. Louis. Like, was Shildt always like this in St. Louis? Was he always the spin guy when they would lose? Now, I mean, St. Louis actually won a lot there.
A lot. He won a lot of games.
He
was well over 500.
Well over
503.
So maybe this wasn't happening a lot there because you actually had a team that was performing and you had core guys and superstars living up to their, back of the baseball cards. And maybe there wasn't a lot of this there. But I would be curious to find out if this is the Mike Shildt that was in St. Louis, where if a team would lose 4 in a row, he would spin it in his own mind into the media how it wasn't bad.
I don't know, Jim. I don't see how he's done it about face. I'd be shocked if in St. Louis he was heavily critical of his team based on everything we've heard over these 2 months. Was he? I don't know what went wrong. We heard philosophical differences or something.
Wasn't he critical of maybe the front office? Maybe that's why he got fired there.
Well, one thing he's certainly not going to be critical of here is the front office. I mean, that doesn't appear. But then that runs into a whole other question, which will be for an off day real quick. That if you're aligned too closely with the front office,
and we've seen that before here.
Does that create problems with your clubhouse? To this point, I don't think it is because you're bending over backwards to appease your team publicly.
I mean, we've lived it, John. Jace Tingler.
I know.
I
know he did.
Shildt has more respect than Jace Tingler ever had in that clubhouse.
More managerial experience, has managed the postseason.
So maybe that helps him because he's just walked in day one with instantly more respect than Tingler ever got from that team. But we've also seen the dynamics that go at play when you have a manager so aligned heavily with the GM, and you're kind of wondering to yourself, like, what's going on here if you're a player?
All the rumors in St. Louis was that Shildt butted heads with management over player personnel because there was certain players that management considered them just to be mediocre and not very relevant. Not to sound like the Dodger guy, but not very relevant. And Shildt was adamant that, oh, well, no, we need this guy in our clubhouse, and I won't budge on it. And they're like, well, then see ya.
Imagine Preller saying
those are the rumors, though. They haven't been proven, so we don't know if it's true.
Imagine Preller going to Shildt and be like, hey, Tyler Wade, we're going to send him down. He'd be like, no,
you're not.
No, you're not. He's a baseball player.
Imagine if Preller was like, yo, we got outplayed in that series. He's like, hold on.
Like, whoa,
full stop.
Calm down.
I take exception to the word outplayed.
We threw really well that series, and we only allowed 4 walks.
Jim's back page is next.
All right, my back page coming up next. All right, John has left. Very soft of him. I don't even know why he left, Brent. Like, he just said, I got to go. Like,
Is it weird that neither one of us bothered to ask him?
Not really. I mean, it's great. Like, okay, I guess if you want to leave, you can leave. You know,
Are you worried that he's going to leave your wedding early?
No, I'm not worried about that. Because if he leaves my wedding early and does not officiate, Aaron will literally
He's going to
kill
get
him.
halfway through it and just go,
Yes.
oh, wait, I got to have to go pick up Jones.
Yeah, Aaron will not allow it to happen. If it was just me at the wedding and it wasn't Aaron, then yeah, he would bail me. But with Aaron there, I think he has too much respect for her, so he's going to stay. So I have no idea where John went, honestly. So let's get to it, Brent. All right, a couple Netflix announcements. Today they announced that Squid Games season 2. Did you ever watch Squid Games, Brent?
Yeah, that was an interesting show.
At first, I was like, man, like, not really great with like subtitles.
I don't mind.
But
You're saying you're not great with reading?
Well, no, I like to focus. I'm good with reading, but you son of. But I want to like watch and experience the show and not have to like read the subtitles. And I feel like sometimes I'm not watching.
I watch a lot of like kung fu movies and stuff, so I'm used to the subtitles. So
Anyway,
it didn't bug me that much.
I got used to it, and actually was one of my favorite shows in, I think it was 2020 during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, no, it was good.
I thought it was really good. So everybody loved it. They created some crazy social media moments out of it, from like Mr. Beast and everything on YouTube. But Squid Games season 2 will release in December.
Okay.
They've released already the first like screenshot of this main character in Squid Games, and it will release in December. And also on Netflix, Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah, I saw that today.
Has been officially greenlit by Netflix. Adam Sandler will return to star in it. This is kind of one of those things where it's such a classic movie. I don't know if I want a second one, because there's nothing wrong with the first one, and no one was kind of saying, hey, that's what happened to Happy Gilmore after the first movie. Like, no one's asking that. It's fine where it is. This kind of feels like one of those things where Netflix is looking for ideas, and they went back to an old property, and Adam Sandler's part of their Netflix group, and they said, "Hey, let's make another movie."
This will already be the best movie that was on Adam Sandler's Netflix contract.
Really?
Because remember, he signed that big 10-year deal to pretty much only do movies on Netflix now. And
Now, that
you know,
movie with
Hubie Halloween and the Hateful, not that was Tarantino, was I can't remember. He did that cowboy movie with Terry Crews and all those guys. That was not very good either. And
the recent movie he did when
the two with Jennifer Aniston,
those are
okay.
Those are okay. But the movie he did recently where he was the NBA scout, I don't know if you ever saw that, for the Sixers.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I never watched it though.
That's a good movie. I actually really like that movie a lot. So I think Sandler, you could say stuff about his movies. I think that movie, one of the last movies he's done on Netflix, I thought was really good. But this one, we'll see how it goes. The cast list is pretty large for cameos, and we'll see if Shooter McGavin returns for that. Pizza Hut, Brent, is venturing into the burger business with a new cheeseburger melt. Pizza Hut has launched a new pizza burger concept that offers the best of both worlds. The chain officially introduced its cheeseburger melt on Tuesday. The cheeseburger melt consists of beef, applewood smoked bacon, your favorite onions,
I knew it,
mozzarella, and cheddar cheese inside a thin crust, Parmesan flavored shell. It also comes with burger sauce on the side. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I don't know about the burger sauce. What's burger sauce? Cheese?
I'm going to go with a no on that one. Each order of melts featured 2 slices of Pizza Hut's signature thin and crispy crust. The melt is also part of the new My Hut box offer that allows customers to enjoy a side of fries or wings and a 20-ounce drink with the melt. The My Hut box starts at $6.99. So the price is actually pretty good.
I guess the B story on that is they have fries too.
Apparently,
that's new. That's news to me.
That's news to me as well. But I'm not going to Pizza Hut for burgers. Unfortunately, I'd probably go to a burger place.
I would if it was like a burger flavored pizza, but not. They used to do bacon cheeseburger pizzas and stuff like that. But
final story here, and this one I think a lot of people would be upset with if it does happen. McDonald's says that it's getting rid of free drink refills. That would be a problem. A recent customer in Pittsburgh told marketplace.org that their local location at McDonald's began charging customers for drink re-ups, something that was once given for free throughout all fast food franchises. So you're going to take away the drink free refill station?
It doesn't bother me. You know why?
Why?
Because I can't even tell you the last time I actually sat down and ate inside of a McDonald's.
Good point.
If you get drive-through, free refills don't mean squat because it's not like you're going to go drive back to McDonald's to go refill your Coke Zero.
But there's been so many instances, and not recently, but like so many instances in the past where like I would go to fast food and I would maybe like sit in the parking lot and like eat some food real quick, and I just want to refill my drink. I'll go inside, refill my cup. I'm good to go. This is a long time ago, but still. You take away free refills from people, Brent, people like me and you, because we go through drive-thrus, whatever. But there's still a lot of people that I think sit inside those restaurants and would be upset because you're already charging a lot for now, meals at McDonald's. Now you're going to charge for refills. That could not go over well. Thanks to James for sending me that story on Instagram. All right. What a day. What a freaking day. We'll be back tomorrow. Padres off day, so be ready, everybody. Who knows what the hell can happen? But we got to today. Tomorrow's a new day. And we'll be back with you at 3 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760.